Okay, we're on our first day of the Oracle Reading Challenge, and today we're going to discuss the difference between Oracle and Tarot and the importance of setting goals. So grab your deck or open your online card app if that's what you're doing if you don't have a physical deck, and we'll get started. So for those who are beginners, I'm going to go through a few basic steps. The process is simple and it only needs to be as complicated as you want to make it. So for instance, some people have elaborate ritualistic processes that they engage in before they do readings, such as lighting candles, using crystals, creating altars. Others simply do a form of meditation to get prepared. Really, it's all about what works for you and feels right to you. In my opinion, and in my own practice, there's only two things I think are most important to do before every reading, and that's to get grounded and centered, where you imagine roots extending from your feet down into Mother Earth, and I also visualize a white or pink light surrounding me for protection and for opening the channel for messages, for my intuition to bring me further details about the cards that I am drawing. And again, there's no right or wrong way to prepare for a reading. It's whatever feels right and safe for you. And this is also true when it comes to shuffling the cards. You want to shuffle them in a way that's comfortable to you. I personally act like a poker player and do the bridge shuffle. Let me grab a deck and show you what I'm talking about. And I actually prefer this way because when you're doing, hold on, I'll show you. Let me show you the bridge shuffle. If I can do this with my hands up in the air on the camera, you know how you do this. And then you kind of like put them together. I'm not going to be able to show you. But if you've ever seen anybody play with a regular deck of cards, like poker players or whatever, they do the thing where the, get a thinner deck and see if this looks easier. Okay. So where they do this thing where the cards end up like this, I call that the bridge shuffle. And the reason that I do that is because if you just do a basic, what I call the waterfall shuffle, where you're doing this, if you have cards that have reversed meanings, you're not really going to get that variety in there, because no matter how many times you shuffle them this way, like when you flip your cards, it's always going to be reversed if you always do the same waterfall shuffle. So when you do the bridge, it actually like kind of reverses some of the cards, and of course it depends on how many times you shuffle. You can never really know how many are right side up and how many are upside down. But it's whatever works for you. And if your cards like these, they're a little bit too big for my hands, and I can do the bridge shuffle, but I can't, like, it's harder. So if you have cards that are too big for your hands, you can do what I like to call the wax on, wax off method, where you lay your cards on the table, you stack them on the table, and then you just kind of do this motion, wax on, wax off, just kind of like swirl them around, so that when you do a reading, if your cards do have reversed meanings, you'll have, both the right side up and the reversed cards available for the reading. And again, it's whatever feels right for you and whatever works, because I know, like, my hands are pretty small, so if I've got, in Oracle cards, they typically come like a little bit larger than a regular playing deck. And of course, if you're using an online app, you don't have to worry about this. And just as an FYI, I believe that online apps work just as well as the physical decks, because all things are energy, and what's most important is that you're getting the message. So let's talk about the difference really quick between Oracle and Tarot. It's really pretty simple. Tarot has a system of interpretation, the Oracle does not. And I'll show you some examples. Let's see. Okay, this deck is actually the one that I go to most often now. They're newer to me, and I really like the artwork. The Enchanted Map Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. Now, the difference in Oracle and Tarot, most Oracle cards will have a title on the bottom. And the reason why I like these cards so much is because they're pretty much self-explanatory. The title that is on the card, so it's easier to tap into, okay, like this one is Stormfields. What does Stormfields trigger for me, you know, when I'm in a reading? And what I fit that reading to the question, or that meaning, I fit the meaning to the question that I'm asking. So it's actually pretty simple. Oracle cards are easier to use typically than tarot cards. I have another deck of Oracle cards that aren't as simple as the Enchanted Map, that if I can get the box open. And this is the Insight Story card set. I don't use these very often. Yeah. There's 90 cards in this deck. And the only reason I don't use them very often is just because I'm a visual person and the artwork on these are much more appealing to my eye than the ones that I'm about to show you. That one's upside down. And again, everything is about what works for you, what feels right for you. So I'm just giving you some like basic information. If you don't own a deck, or if you just got a deck and it's not feeling right to you, just ways that you can start tapping into what's available to you, or if you're going out to find a new deck, the kind of the best things to look for. Now, like this deck, this Insight Story card set, it has the title on the bottom. That might be hard to see. And like that one, that's Gate. That gives you a little bit of information, and you could probably draw some intuitive insight from that without looking at the book, depending on the question that you're asking. And there's been, you know, the egg. That, just as an example, the egg to me would represent that the fertility, bringing things to life, and the incubation stage. And with Oracle cards, what you're getting with an Oracle deck is the channeled messages from the creator of the deck. There's not really like a system to it, no numeric system or anything like that, but in the book you'll see each card represents something different. So now, whether you're reading the Oracle or the Tarot, one simple thing that you can begin to do is to look at the images on the cards, because typically the artists and the creators, they have put symbols in the cards that represent the meaning of that card. If you're not so good at reading symbols, then it may not work so well for you. Let me find a good example to show you here. This one's kind of simple. Making a choice. You have two doorways here, a path, the fork in the road. That's pretty self-explanatory. There's a choice to be made. And if you look closer, there's two different images inside the doorways, and neither of them look. Okay, so there's a bit of a break in the video. I got a little choked up and had to get something to drink. So, we were talking about this card and how reading the symbols on the card will help you interpret the meaning. So, in this card, for example, like I said, you got the two paths and the two doorways, and it's pretty simple. With the title, there's a choice to be made. With the clouds in the background, that to me represents consciousness. And so for me, the immediate thought would be, as long as you're following your higher self, your higher consciousness, when you're making the decision on which doorway to enter, everything will work out great, because inside both of these doorways, the images don't look grim, they don't look bad, they're actually both quite pretty. And I know that's hard to see on camera. It looks a whole lot different in real life. Really pretty images. So now to move on to the tarot, that's just some basic information to get you started on oracle cards. The tarot is a bit more complicated, and it is a system that you will have to learn eventually if you don't want to use the book. So with the tarot, there are 22 major cards, the major arcana, and here's one of them, the Lovers. There are 22 of these, and they're numbered usually on any deck that you get, and they'll have the title there. You'll know that it's a major card if it's a title there. And there's another one, the Sun. I don't have the deck in order, but that was a major card. Let me find a minor one. So with tarot, the deck is separated into 4 different suits. Like this one. This is Wands. Typically it's Wands, Pentacles, Swords, and did I say Pentacles? Cups, yes. So there are 4 suits, and in each suit there is, it goes from Ace to trying to find some examples here. I probably should have put these in order before I okay. So like here, there's the 3 and 4 of Wands. Each suit will have those numbers. And the system that works with tarot is part numerology. So the numbers 1 through 9 have a different basic meaning, and then that is combined with the the meaning of the suit. So the Wands, the Pentacles, the Cups, and the Swords each have a different meaning. So the simplest method to begin using the tarot is to learn the basic energy of the numbers 1 through 9, and then the 4 suits, what those energies represent. And like Pentacles, of course, this is, about money, material things. And then with each suit, there are pages, knights, queens, and kings. These typically represent people or personality traits. So really, tarot is a bit more elaborate and complex for us to get through in this 5-day challenge. But I'm keeping the group open, so if you need more information on tarot and interpreting the cards, then just post your questions and comments in the group page. But it pretty much works the same as the oracle. Like most of the time, the artist has symbols in the card. The creator of the cards will have symbols in there that represent what the card means. And this is the King of Pentacles. So this is about the masculine energy around your money. Like if you were asking a question about your finances, this would be a card about taking control of that. Being the king of your finances. these are a little bit darker and a little bit more difficult to read than some of the other tarot decks that I've had. So, but it's pretty much the same for any deck that you have. A good deck will have the artwork there for you to kind of look at what's going on in the picture and be able to interpret some basic meaning from that. So, alright. And again, that's just the basic energy around, or not energy, the basic difference between the oracle and the tarot. The tarot has a system and a structure that needs to be learned and takes a bit more practice. And unless you have a very good memory, which I do not, then the best place to start is to learn, instead of trying to learn what every single one of these cards mean, is learn the basic energy of the numbers 1 through 9, learn the energy of the suits that are in the deck, the 4 suits, and you can find information about that online to make it easier for you. Don't try to, right now at least anyway, don't try to memorize every single meaning of every single card. Because unless you do have a good memory, it's pretty much impossible. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our goal setting. So, select a goal that you've been working on, and if you don't have one, just have fun with this and create one for this challenge. You know, just kind of play along, because I've tailored some questions around the goal setting. So, if you'd like to have a unicorn in your life, then you can make that your goal. Granted, it may show up as a stuffed animal, or the image of it may cross your path on social media, or you may have a dream about it, but the universe will bring it to you if it's for your highest good. So there's a space in your workbook to record that, what your goal is. You can be as specific as you feel you need to be about that goal. And the reason that the goal setting is so important, we need to gain that confidence in the fact that we can be, do, and have anything that we truly desire that's for our highest good. And you'll hear me say that a lot over the next 5 days, and especially in the questions you'll be asking, the for your highest good. And that's because we don't want to be working towards things that aren't good for us, because we all know that bad things can be brought to us. So that'll almost always be in there somewhere. And that's just to be very clear that if it's not good for you, you don't want it. So the first thing you want to do is get grounded and centered. Take a few deep breaths. And you can pause this video if you need to, because I'm just going to run through these steps really quick. Just take a few deep breaths and imagine that you're deeply rooted to the earth. And I want you to surround yourself with the white or pink light. You can swirl it together if you want both colors, so that you can be protected and open yourself up to channeling, to be a channel for the universe as you're reading your cards. So if you need to, just go ahead and pause the video and do that quick visualization. It doesn't have to be anything long and elaborate. Just make sure you get yourself grounded and you're present here in the moment right now. Okay, so I will use myself as an example as we go through this question that we're getting ready to ask of ourselves and our oracle cards, or tarot cards if you're using the tarot. The first thing you need to do is get your question really clear in your mind. And let's say, for example, that my goal is to sign on 5 new paying clients for monthly readings. So my question will be, what will help me manifest my goal of 5 new paying clients for my highest good? If your goal is long and super specific, you do not need to include that in the entire question unless you want to. You can actually shorten it. As long as you've got the specific goal, the actual goal in your mind, and that's what you're focused on, you can even shorten the question down to what will manifest my goal for my highest good. So, the first thing you need to do is shuffle your cards and ask your question while you're shuffling. You can say that out loud or you can say it in your head. And I always just say it in my head. And just shuffle in whatever way feels right for you. I've already done the bridge shuffle, but I was just doing the waterfall. And when you're selecting your cards, there's a few different ways that you can do this. And again, you're going to do it in a way that feels right to you. So once you're done shuffling your cards, you can either take the top card, the very top card, and let that be your card. Or if you're doing more than a, you're not going to do it for this question right now, but if you're doing more than a one card reading, whatever number of cards, if you want to take those directly off the top, that's totally up to you. Or you could spread the cards out, and this is what I almost always do. I just kind of fan them out. I'll show you the back sides. I just kind of fan them out like this, and I don't look at them. I'm typically holding them down here, and I don't look at the cards, or I close my eyes, and then I just go to one that feels right to me, and I don't spend a whole lot of time like trying to find that one perfect feel good card, the one, you know, that makes my fingers tingle. Sometimes that happens, but you normally don't want to sit there, you know, for a couple of minutes and overthink which card you're going to pick, because that will interfere with your reading. And I always have faith that no matter which way I do it, no matter which card I pick, it'll always be the right one. And pick whichever way is going to work for you, but there are some people, they'll cut the deck, you know, where they split it in half, and sometimes in thirds. They'll have it split in thirds, and then they'll just restack it in a different order and then take the top card. Again, there's lots of different possibilities for doing this, and it's whatever works for you and whatever feels right. So, I randomly selected my card, and I have faith that it's the card that I need to see about my goal of gaining new clients. So, let's see what we have. My randomly selected card is Ride the Wave. So immediately when I see this card, I think about going with the flow. Not swimming against the stream, not trying to force anything, not trying to twist anybody's arm. It's just kind of do what I'm doing. Just keep moving. Let the waves push me. The waves in the ocean of possibilities, let them push me to where I need to be. I just need to lay back, float, relax, let it happen. And that's just a quick example. You'll be doing the same thing for yourself. So once you select your card, record that in your workbook or your journal. And this card will be like a theme for you for the next 5 days. And if you're comfortable doing so, you can share your goal and your card that you just drew with the meaning in your circle. And if you're wanting to practice the live readings, you can go ahead and jump on video and let us see you do this reading for yourself. And don't forget to tag your circle so your fellow sisters can see you in action too. Okay, so if you look in your workbook on day 1, at the top, you'll see there's a space there to record the date and your goal. And then directly underneath that, you'll see another question. And that question is, what energy is present around my goal? What you'll do then is select another card and record it in that space, along with the first card that you just drew. This is going to give you a little bit of clarity and insight around your goal. And then below that, at the bottom of day 1 on that page, the next question is, what belief can I adopt or let go of to achieve my goal faster? Draw another card and record it in that space, and this will kind of become like your affirmation as you're working towards your goal. And no matter essentially, no matter what card you get, we can flip that into an affirmation. So if you need help doing that, post it in your circle, and we'll help you create an affirmation around the meaning of that card. And again, nothing's set in stone. We're just playing here, getting used to the cards, getting used to the energy. And a lot of what we're doing is seeing ways that we can tailor questions to what we want to know about, so that the messages become clearer. So if you find during your reading that one of the cards doesn't seem to fit your question, this is very important, do not redraw another card. Don't select another card. Have faith that whatever card you drew is the right card for your question. So if it's unclear, you can drop the question that you asked along with your card meaning in your circle, the post for your circle, and we can see if me or another one of your fellow sisters has some insight into what that could mean for you. And that's it for today's training. So your homework is to complete the readings for these questions for yourself. And there's one other thing I want you to do. If you don't do a daily reading for yourself, start getting in the habit. This isn't about worshiping the cards and doing everything that they say. This is an exercise to help you gain some more practice and begin connecting with your cards on a more regular basis. But you can use them as a tool to prepare for your day every day if that's what you would like to do. So first thing in the morning, before jumping on social media and your email, draw a card for the energy around your day and record it in your workbook on day 2. I've put a space in there for you to do that. And tomorrow we'll be looking into ways that we can begin gaining confidence in our readings. I've got a couple of tips and tricks, and hopefully that will help you get out there in front of your tribe, in front of your crowd, or just individual readings, and gain that confidence to start bringing this more into your life and into your work. So I will see you tomorrow.